I had a million questions, doubts, and regrets the day after my encounter with Bren, but I didn't let them distract me from doing my job. But today, there was a knock on the door after I'd locked up. Dr. Linda Bach-Eller? This is Detective Cho. I came by yesterday. I tensed up, hoping he hadn't figured out I was harboring a fugitive last night. If he had, I could always claim Bren was pointing a gun at me from the corner. Despite my racing pulse, I opened the door with an innocent expression. "Oh, hello, Detective S." Detective Cho was accompanied by a dignified woman in a wheelchair and a younger, blonde woman. He was as straight-faced as ever, but the woman in the wheelchair was smiling and the blonde was staring at me as if she'd discovered Bigfoot. "Good evening, Dr. Bach-Eller." Detective Cho gestured to the two ladies. "These are Agents Rodriguez and Hansen." "Oh, wow, this is incredible," Agent Hansen whispered, her eyes glinting with wonder as she stepped right up to me. Hello," I said, uneasy as I leaned away. "How may I help you?" "May we come in?" Agent Rodriguez asked, wheeling herself closer to the door. "There's something we'd like to discuss with you." Not wanting to rouse suspicions, I nodded. "Of course." I gestured towards the chairs in my reception area, and the three of them found their places. "Have a seat, Doctor," Agent Rodriguez said. "Please, call me Linda," I said as I sat across from them, my anxious heart thudding. "May I know what this is about?" "You're a foster child, correct?" Detective Cho asked. I blinked, not quite expecting a personal question. "How did you know?" "We researched your history after last night's encounter." "Is that normal procedure with every person you question?" I asked, nervous. "Not to the degree we spent researching you." "Do you know who your biological parents are?" I shifted in my chair, trying to hide my unease. "No, I don't." "Why are you asking me these questions?" "We're from the Covescope organization," Agent Rodriguez said. My pulse spiked. "I thought you were the police." "I am," Detective Cho said. "But I also work with Agents Hansen and Rodriguez at the organization." "I don't understand. What is this organization and what does it have to do with me and my parents?" "There is a subset of humans that possess certain gifts," Agent Rodriguez said. "Since these gifts are passed down genetically, our organization keeps track of the lineages and helps classify, train, and protect the gifted, but we have no record of you." "What types of gifts are you talking about?" "Oh, there's a bunch," Agent Hansen said, leaning forward. "For example, Cho here can read minds. We call his type a reader, and he's classified as a primary, which means he doesn't need touch to express his gift. I'm a primary mover, and I can control people's striated muscles. Rodriguez here is a primary persuader, she can make people believe whatever she wants them to believe." I stared at them, waiting for the punchline that never came. "So, you want me to believe you're, what? The X-Men?" Agent Hansen laughed. "That isn't too far off." She pointed to Agent Rodriguez. "Our director is even in a wheelchair. But it's temporary. She just had knee surgery." Agent Hansen's bubbly attitude eased my discomfort, but not my confusion. "I'm pretty sure I recognize the terms reader, mover, and persuader from books and movies. We admit, the names aren't very creative," Agent Hansen said. "The ones who can freeze your blood are called freezers. They aren't too thrilled about that. The ones like Bren are called boilers. They're even less thrilled." "What? Bren? But he was just an ordinary, I cut myself off, my eyes going wide. I mean, be Bran from the photo. Agent Hansen giggled. Gotcha. She nudged Detective Cho. Got it out of her better than you. My unease returned in full force. This was all an act just to get me phased enough to slip up. Was Bran here when I was talking to you? Detective Cho asked with a cold glare. I looked at him with shame. Yes. Do you realize your decision to let him run free left two innocent bystanders in critical condition? I gasped in shock, guilt clutching my heart. Oh no. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen. He was just in terrible shape, injured, paranoid, he had a gun. I promised him. He reminded me of my son. I just wanted to help. I paused my rueful rambling, my breath shaky as I dared ask, are you going to arrest me? The penalty for harboring a dangerous fugitive is high, especially when the fugitive is directly concealed from securement and has gone to cause further casualties. My heart stuttered in my chest as I looked at him wide-eyed, my trembling hands covering my mouth. How high? A maximum prison sentence of 3 years. Fear flooded my core. 3 years. Yes. But your case is different. Different? How? I asked, teetering between dread and hope. You're a nuller, the only one in existence as we know of. I frowned. A what? A nuller? Agent Hansen said. Your gift cancels out other people's gifts. I looked between them, my emotions in too much of a wreck to deal with this bizarre topic once more. Why are you talking about gifts again? Because it's the reason we came to see you. See, Bran is a boiler. When he's agitated, he can make other people's blood boil to a deadly degree. But here you are, unscathed. And last night, Cho couldn't read your mind. And today, none of us have been able to control or influence you, Agent Rodriguez added. If we're right, you could be the first to be classified as a nuller. This could open up invaluable prospects for people with disadvantageous gifts. People such as Bran, Agent Hansen said. Whom we could have helped last night, Detective Cho said. I cringed, and Agent Hansen said, don't rub it in, Cho. If you want to blame anyone, blame Olkapai. What's Olkapai? I asked. The organization Bran escaped from. They experiment on the gifted, treat them like guinea pigs. They even implant tracking chips in them. He dug his out and we found it in an alley. It's how we knew he had to be looking for medical help. But it seems he believes we're all the same, that's why he keeps running. He doesn't understand we want to help him. I frowned at their earnest words. You're serious about these gifts? Yes. We can't demonstrate on you, but we can demonstrate on each other. Agent Hansen turned to Detective Cho. May I? Fine, he said. But restrain yourself. I gasped as he took out his gun and pointed it at Agent Hansen. Oh my God. I cried out, jerking back in my seat. What are you doing? Detective Cho couldn't have looked more bored as he put his gun back in its holster, but I was shaking as I stared at them, not sure what they were trying to prove. How was that supposed to convince me? I asked. Yeah, I guess Joe does look like he's 1 second away from killing me. Agent Hansen twisted her mouth in thought. Oh, I know. Cho, close your eyes. He sighed and did as she said, and she took her earpiece off before handing me her phone. Type any random string of numbers or letters. Despite my unease, I typed out my high school ID number and handed the phone back to Agent Hansen. The moment she glanced at the screen, Detective Cho rattled off the 11-digit number, his eyes still closed. "Pretty cool, huh?" Agent Hansen asked with a grin as she put her earpiece back on. "I've seen magic tricks before," I said. "You're a tough nut to crack, aren't you?" "Hansen, look," Agent Rodriguez said, nodding towards Wookiee's tail swishing from his napping spot atop the bookcase. "Oh, you have a cat? This'll be easy. What are you going to do?" I asked, tensing up. "Just watch." Wookiee jumped off of the bookcase with stilted grace, and my jaw dropped as he stood on his hind legs and began performing an uncanny version of one of those popular dances kids did online. He looked terrified as strangled meows squeezed through his throat, and I turned to Agent Hansen in a panic. "Please stop whatever you're doing. I beg you." Wookieee dropped back on all fours and made to dash out of the room, but he changed his mind as he turned around and trotted towards me, his fear somehow gone as he hopped on my lap and curled up. Trembling, I wrapped a protective arm around him as I looked at the detective and two agents with apprehension. Whatever you did, that was animal cruelty," I said, my voice shaking. "I've trained with a lot with animals, I don't make them do what they can't handle," Agent Hansen said. And Rodriguez made sure to calm the little guy down. "We just wanted to give you solid proof. Do you believe us now?" I looked down at Wookieee, who was now purring as if he hadn't performed a spastic dance just seconds ago. I didn't imagine it. It happened. It actually happened. These people were telling the truth. Somehow, this was all real. But, some things didn't add up. If Detective Cho is a mind reader, why wasn't he able to read Bran's mind? I asked, cautious. He was only a room away. Detective Cho pointed to his earpiece. Bran has a shielding device like this. Most organizations of our caliber have them to block readers and persuaders. We believe he may be stolen one during his escape to avoid capture. Does that mean you had one for his boiling gift as well? There's no such thing yet, Agent Hansen replied. Unless you count sedatives. Cho was safe because of distance and walls, and Bran also tries to mute his gift with drugs. They don't really make a difference if you're facing the guy, but they do keep him from raising an entire block. Like you, he had no biological parents to explain anything to him, and at Ulkapai, he was just a test subject, so he doesn't quite know how to control himself. Those words wove through my memories, and my stomach clenched. Gifts, are they always passed down? Yes, Agent Rodriguez said with a somber nod, aware of the truth I'd uncovered. So, my son. Yes. At what age do gifts manifest? I asked, my voice shaking. Between 9 to 14 years of age. I put my hand over my mouth, nausea swirling in my depths, disbelief tearing through my mind. We're sorry for your loss, Agent Hansen said. Why didn't he tell me? I whispered, a tear tracing my cheek. He probably didn't understand what was happening, Agent Rodriguez said. His gift may have caused him confusion, doubt, and fear, especially if it was similar to Cho's. I was 10 when I first felt the effects of my gift, Detective Cho said. I started getting thoughts that weren't mine. Jumbled, incoherent snippets, like waves of sensations and memories. The majority were unpleasant, even horrifying. If my parents hadn't explained to me beforehand what I might experience, I maybe thought I was going mad. Or your son could have been like Bran, Agent Hansen said. Realizing people were getting hurt around him but not understanding why. My emotions burst and I buried my face in my hands, weeping. Wookiee sat up, sniffing my fingers in concern before he rubbed his cheek against them. I didn't know if he was doing that of his own volition, if Agent Rodriguez was persuading him, or if Agent Hansen was moving him, but I didn't care as I hugged him, crying harder. I tried my best to be there for Cody, I said between sobs. It's why the apartment is above my clinic, so I'd never be far from him. But I was a single mother, I worked long days to support us, I couldn't see him as often as I wanted. He never caused trouble, did well in school, but at 13 he began distancing himself, and I just thought it was a phase teenagers go through. But then he turned to drugs. A strained wail escaped my mouth. I wish he told me. He was suffering and I wasn't there for him. I can't imagine how bad it must have been for him to choose to take drugs, to run away. Was he afraid he'd hurt me, or did he think I wouldn't understand? That I wouldn't be there for him no matter what? Agent Hansen walked over and rubbed my back as I continued to sob. It's not your fault, Linda. You're an orphan and your gift is silent. You didn't know. Even if Cody had talked with you, you wouldn't have known the right thing to do. It's my biological parents' fault. They abandoned me, left me with no history. How could they do that? What if my gift wasn't silent? I could have accidentally killed everyone in my foster home. Or been institutionalized. Actually, if your gift hadn't been silent, we would have found you a lot sooner and escorted you to Covescope. That isn't helping, Cho, Agent Hansen said. If you come with us, we can help you find your biological parents and discover your lineage, Agent Rodriguez said. Perhaps it'll give you some closure. Come with you to Covescope? I asked, my sobs waning as I dried my tears. Yes. As we mentioned earlier, you're the first nuller we've come across, and we'd like to run tests to determine your classification. And we're hoping to run tests on your blood and stuff as well, Agent Hansen added. Maybe we can create a suppressant for those with terrible gifts or even create a temporary shield to protect us from deadly gifts. Imagine the possibilities. I'm ready, I said, sitting up. I'll do whatever it takes to help all those who find themselves in a situation like my Cody. I can take this Friday off and drop by. I'm afraid we'll need you to come right away, Agent Rodriguez said. And you'll be staying with us for the unforeseeable future. I frowned. Excuse me? Why? Covescope isn't the only organization that helps the gifted, Agent Hansen said, but we are the nicest. Some of the others are like factories or camps. Some, like Mbach, are even attempting to weaponize gifts. If word gets around that a nuller exists, you're going to be pursued by all of them. It'll be safer for everyone, including you, if you come with us. I have a job here, a home, friends, Wookiee. And my home has memories, it's my haven. I'm not leaving all of that behind. You can still keep in touch with everyone, and the furry little guy can come with you. As for your apartment and clinic, we can help you close up shop and relocate as much as possible to your new quarters. As for your career, we have an animal testing facility at Covescope and we could use someone with your veterinary expertise. You test on animals. Better than practicing on humans, right? Agent Hansen said. I frowned. Does every gifted person test on them? Do you boil their blood? She shrugged awkwardly. Like I said, better than practicing on humans. You could help us redefine our procedures and regulations for testing, Agent Rodriguez said. You'll continue your valuable work helping animals while helping the gifted. Detective Cho stood up. I'll accompany you to your apartment to pick up the necessities, and we'll send a moving team to pack the rest at a later time. I stood up as well, Wookie in my arms. This is all happening so fast. Not fast enough. We shouldn't waste any more time. I can help you pack. Agent Hansen said. Don't worry, you'll like Kovscope. You're in safe hands. I took a tense breath and nodded. Okay, please follow me.